They called it a demonstration. The Threx Dominion, a species that prided itself on conquest masked as diplomacy, sent a fleet to correct what they called a human territorial trespass. The system of Novus Prime, barely 50 years colonized, home to 3 million settlers, a terraforming station, and the first generation born beneath alien stars, was chosen as their example. They arrived without warning. The colony's defense grid barely had time to power up before the Threx ships broke orbit. Their beams didn't target weapon platforms or military posts. They burned through habitation domes, split lakes into steam, and rained plasma on cities where children played under two suns. The Threx commander, High Marshal Karath, watched it unfold through a viewing pane aboard his flagship. He was said to have laughed as the atmosphere ignited. "This is mercy," he declared to his crew. "Let them witness the price of arrogance." By the time their fleet departed, Novus Prime was ash and silence. 3 million souls, vaporized, smothered, or drowned beneath collapsing oceans. A single distress signal managed to pierce the static of destruction. It carried no words, just the sound of a human child crying. The transmission was intercepted by several Threx listening posts, and for days afterward, it became a source of amusement. They replayed the clip in their mess halls, calling it the weeping of apes. The mockery of mourning. The following cycles, the Threx Dominion celebrated. Their state channels broadcast recordings of the pacification. They called it a lesson in humility, a display meant to remind lesser species that the galaxy was ruled by power, not sentiment. Their envoys mocked the human confederation in council halls. They said Earth would do what Earth always did: weep, condemn, and forgive, because that's what humanity had become known for in the galactic community. The idealists, the diplomats, the race that spoke of cooperation while others spoke of conquest. Humanity built alliances, signed peace accords, and poured resources into joint projects meant to uplift all species. They offered friendship in every direction, often unreciprocated. The Threx believed this meant weakness. They misread compassion as cowardice. When Earth's ambassador stood before the Galactic Concord to demand justice, the Threx delegation laughed. One even brought a recording of the child's cry and played it over the intercom. "This is all humanity can muster," said Karath's adjutant. Noise and tears. When the ambassador left, she said nothing. She only turned once, her eyes cold as vacuum, and whispered, "Then drown in them." The calm before vengeance for 3 months. The galaxy watched and waited. No human fleets moved. No declarations came. Earth's comms went dark beyond official silence. The Confederation Navy maintained its patrols, its colonies still open, its tone restrained, but something began to shift. Subtly, quietly. Trade convoys rerouted through Sol-controlled space were delayed. Human shipyards, once bustling with commercial vessels, ceased civilian production. Docks that had sat idle for decades, old relics of Earth's warlike past, lit up again with power grids and reactor signatures. Satellites repositioned. Cargo manifests were encrypted. Every system near the Terran frontier went under classified lockdown. The galaxy assumed it was grief. They were wrong. It was preparation. When the Threx sent probes towards Sol, they vanished. When they transmitted queries to human colonies, they received only automated replies. "Do not approach. Human space under security review." The Conquered grew nervous. They summoned the Terran representative once more. He arrived, silent, dressed in black. A Larithian diplomat, a species known for tact, asked cautiously, "Ambassador, what will your people do?" The human smiled. A small, terrible smile. "We are mourning," he said, "and we mourn best when the stars burn with us." The day the stars went silent, the Threx Dominion's first warning came not from scanners, but from darkness. Their frontier stations went offline one by one. Relay buoys vanished from subspace. Patrol craft reported static, then silence. Commanders barked orders to increase sensor sweeps, convinced it was a solar flare or data corruption. Then came the transmissions. No words, only a deep, resonant tone, like the heartbeat of a leviathan. It echoed across every Threx frequency, shattering encryption, hijacking military bands, overriding emergency channels. Then the message followed. A single human voice. Novus Prime remembers. And then the stars went black. Human ships, if one could still call them ships, emerged from the void without transponder, without light, without mercy. Dreadnoughts the size of continents, wrapped in stealth plating so advanced it devoured sensor pings, decloaked above Threx worlds. Each bore the insignia of the Terran Retribution Fleet, a name not heard in 2 centuries, since Earth had renounced war. The Threx tried to hail them, to parley, to threaten. No answer. Then the bombardments began. The fire of humanity unleashed cities that had stood for millennia were erased in seconds. Human kinetic strikes came first. Tungsten rods dropped from orbit at relativistic speeds. No radiation, no warning, just instantaneous annihilation. Then came the atmospheric incinerators, orbital weapons designed to burn oxygen itself into plasma. Skies turned white-hot, oceans boiled. For every child lost on Novus Prime, a Threx world fell silent. Entire fleets scrambled to defend their homeworlds, but they faced ships they couldn't track, weapons they couldn't jam, and soldiers who no longer spoke. Terran Marines, descendants of peacekeepers, now wearing matte black armor etched with the names of Novus Prime's dead, descended on captured worlds. They didn't broadcast demands. They didn't take prisoners. They left monuments. Each city they leveled bore a simple slab of obsidian. No symbols, no flags, just a phrase carved into the black stone. You heard our tears, and beneath it, now hear our silence. The desperation of Dominion panic spread through the Threx Dominion like wildfire. Their High Marshal, Karath, the same man who'd once laughed over a burning colony, issued frantic commands for surrender. But the human fleets didn't respond. Their AI-driven squadrons operated independently, sweeping through sectors like storms. The Threx tried to use the Galactic Concord as a shield, pleading for intervention. But the Concord did nothing, not out of sympathy but fear. Every envoy, every ruler, every admiral in the galaxy had seen what the humans were capable of when restrained. Now, they saw what they became when unchained. World after world vanished from the Dominion's maps. The Threx capital itself was surrounded within 2 months, a speed thought impossible across interstellar space. As the final battle began, Karath sent one last broadcast. Humans, you have made your point. Enough blood! Enough fire! A voice replied, not from one ship, but from all of them. A chorus, perfectly synchronized. There was no enough for Novus Prime. The sky above the Threx homeworld ignited as 1,000 human dreadnoughts opened fire in unison. When it ended, the planet was gone. Not broken, not scarred, gone, vaporized into cosmic dust. The galaxy trembles. The war lasted 72 days. When it was over, the Threx Dominion, once spanning hundreds of systems, was erased. Their language, their archives, their history, all deleted from the galactic network. The Confederation broadcast a single statement: justice has been served. No celebrations followed. No parades. Humanity simply turned inward. The Retribution fleet returned to Sol space, then vanished from public channels. The orbital shipyards went dark once more. Earth said nothing. But the message had already spread. All across the galaxy, species whispered new words into their histories. Do not make them weep. The whispers of eternity years passed. The ruins of Threx space became forbidden territory. Wreckage drifted in orbit around dead suns, silent memorials to arrogance. Explorers who ventured too close spoke of strange transmissions, faint, almost ghostly, a voice repeating endlessly through the void. We cried first, even now. The Galactic Concord debates the human psyche, how a species capable of art, kindness, and peace could also unleash vengeance so absolute it defied comprehension. But those who lived through the War of Tears know the truth. They know that humans don't fight for dominance. They fight for memory, for those who cannot fight back. When their hearts break, the stars themselves tremble. The legacy of fire on a quiet moon orbiting a blue giant, a statue stands. No one knows who built it. It bears no name, no face, only a human hand, carved from black stone, reaching upward through waves of frozen glass. Beneath it is inscribed a single sentence. The aliens saw our tears and drowned in our rage. And for all the galaxy's power, for all its empires and armies, no one has ever dared to test the truth of those words again. Because humanity's vengeance is not born from hatred. It is born from love. Love lost, betrayed, and burned into something eternal. And in the silence of the stars, that love still burns, waiting, watching. Because if the galaxy ever forgets Novus Prime again, if it ever makes Earth weep once more, then the void will open, and the fire will return, unstoppable, unmerciful, unending.